Hello folks, Reverend Crystal Cox here. We're going to continue reading The Magic of Psychotronic Power. Okay. Let's get after it, as they say. Okay. Send you some healing energy. First, actually, the intention is to neutralize the room you're in. Okay? Neutralize the energy. And now the intention is to raise the vibration, the frequency of the room that you are in. Okay. Whew, that felt good. All right, so where were we? Hat on, hat off. It's a little chilly in here. The hat does make me a little bit warmer. Okay. Are you ready? See, where were we? Okay, so, and again, like this next section is about how to attract a person to your side, but I just want to throw out there that I don't believe you need anyone else to complete you. Okay, you don't need to attract somebody near you. More than attracting, using the work here to charge up my toroidal field, to strengthen my field, and to clear out anything in my energy field that might bring a lower vibration frequency or, say, toxic thing, pattern, program, or person to me. So every day working on raising the vibration and the frequency of my own energy field, and clearing out any programs and triggers. And then I know I will attract the tribe, the people, the lovers, the business partners that are of that same vibration. And until you get to that higher vibration, seeking another is just going to make your toroidal field resonate with them. Okay, if you haven't cleared the stuff, then it's going to amplify that in your life. And so this book's about taking charge of your own energy field, your own creator God powers, and sending that out into the universe to create the reality that you want, but also it actually projects and attracts from you as the receiver, creating the reality in your own toroidal field. So I'm going to read this section, how to attract a person to your side. Again, you discern information and you decide what's right for you. Okay? Well, that was a mouthful. Ouch. Okay. I don't need my glasses. Apparently I don't want them. If you have proved to yourself, okay, how to attract a person to your side. Page 33. If you have proved, oh, and it's part 3 too, just so you know, in case you didn't know. If you have proved to your satisfaction that your imagination can contact a pet or make sprouts grow faster, you are ahead of the person who just says, maybe. What you know is what works for you. In Poland, medical researchers studied why some medicine worked well when prescribed by certain doctors, but hardly worked at all when prescribed by others. The power of your thoughts, the power of your belief, the power of your intention literally creates the physical reality you live in and contributes to the construct that is your outer reality through mass, consciousness, like at least like 51%, say 70%, then it shifts. I'll just stop there. The point I'm making is that you can create your reality, but only to a certain level, and the game board can't change to the next level or ascension until more people in the world raise their vibration as well. Okay, they found that the expectation of the doctors was influencing the results. Dr. A accepted the new medicine, prescribed it, and was happy with the improvements it brought about. He continued to use it successfully. Dr. B was skeptical when he first tried the new medicine. He did not expect a positive result when he prescribed it. The result bore out his doubtful expectations. If he prescribed it again, he did so knowing again it would probably not work. And it didn't. Consciousness affects matter, even the automatic action. So if you hold a particular belief, even if you're just doing something mundane every day, the same thing, but you have a certain belief about it, oh, this isn't going to work, I'm never going to get out of here, life's never going to get better, I'm just droning on, then your consciousness is creating right then, whether you're actively doing it or not. That's why it's important to identify what is your belief and what is not your belief, like in your ancestral line or other people's. And then you instantly change your energy field and you change the point of creation of surrounding that particular topic. Okay. If you don't think it can be done, you're right. Your consciousness, let's see, what is here? Okay. Consciousness affects matter, even the automatic action of a chemical on the body. Your consciousness is going to affect another body, now the body of somebody you wish to attract to your side. And this can also be like, a boss or someone you want to do healing work or faith healing, energy healing, your children. You're not affecting their free will, because if they're fully in their body and they're conscious, then they're consciously creating. Okay. We're also in New Earth energy. You can't do something negative to other people. We before we shift into this energy, you kind of had to shake off negativity all the time or things that people sent your way. But now we're just beaming too much light. Okay. Unless you believe that their stuff's going to affect you, it doesn't affect you. Okay. If you think it can be done, you're right. If you think it cannot be done, you're also right. You had better prepare yourself mentally for a positive result. You can picture it in your mind's eye, how you want it to be. Visualize it, see it, smell the smells in the room, feel the temperature, taste the tastes, see the people in the room, look around, be conscious, be present in the room where you're visualizing that reality. Okay? And this is how you draw more of that to you. And this is how you basically program your torridial field, your supercomputer, on what you expect and what you believe. And so then you create those beliefs, and those things come to you based on those beliefs, rather than us taking our old grandpappy or our old asshole uncle's belief and going, oh yeah, we still believe that from a childhood because they said it over and over, but we've never said, well, what do I believe? Is that my belief? And we do that when it triggers us or an emotion comes up, and we say, what must I believe for that to have bothered me, triggered me, caused that emotional reaction? And then you go, well, I'd have to believe blah, blah, blah. And then you go, yeah, I believe that. Or you go, what? I don't believe that. And then that point of attraction changes. That thing in your supercomputer that brings that into your reality, into your holographic projection, it just is gone. It changes. Okay, examine any doubts you may have. Are the doubts more important to you than anything else? Because, like the Bashar stuff, right? You're believing in something. They're like, well, I don't know. How can I believe in that? How can I trust that? Well, you're trusting in not trusting it. So you're trusting in something. You're trusting in what someone says or someone else recommended or something else, someone else told you to do, or you're trusting in what you believe to be true. You're trusting in something. Sometimes people don't know that. They think they're just doing the right thing, the moral thing. They're just following along. But then they're trusting in the information or the authoritarian or tyranny or toxic family member. They're trusting in that. Okay? You're still putting your trust somewhere. So why not do it consciously? Examine any doubts you may have. Are the doubts more important to you than anything else? Hang on to them and keep the faucet of your psychotronic power shut. That sentence doesn't flow right. But you get the point. Okay, so if you hang on to those beliefs, then you're shutting down the flow of your own power because it's not your belief. If you own that belief, then yeah, you're drawing more to that and you're clarifying your ownership. But most of these you go, well, no, I'd have to believe such and such, and I don't really believe that. And then you change that density in your energy field. And so instead of blocking off the energy and shutting it down, it flows through. says, but on the other hand, if you have a gut feeling that mankind is now discovering more about his consciousness, that there has been at least some truth to the many instances of the power of thinking positively, working miracles, and that everybody is endowed with more mental power than he is using, then you are able to open the faucet of your psychotronic power with your visual imagination. Arthur was bashful. He did not date girls until several years after his friends had started going out. Now he had dated one girl, but was afraid of calling her again for fear of being refused. He knew where she worked and would often pass by and look in just to catch a glimpse of her. I think we call that stalking. Again, keep in mind this book's decades old and blah, blah, blah. And there is no time. Okay. He asked me to help him. Okay, he knew where she worked. He asked me to help him arrange a chance meeting with psychotronic power. He visualized himself meeting her, shaking hands, talking with her, using his hands. He admitted he felt nervous talking to her, even in his imagination. 2 days later, nothing had happened. So he parked his car and started toward her shop to get another stolen glimpse of her, when all of a sudden, there she was walking toward him. It caught him by surprise. He became flustered. All he could do was stammer out a hello and keep walking. Been there. Psychotronic power had worked perfectly for him. It brought him back exactly what he had put into it. Okay, that's how we create reality. Call it quantum, call it source, call it creator God, call it your own supercomputer and your own energy field. Or just don't call it late for dinner. That wasn't funny, I know, but Okay, remember the story about the man who wanted to catch a mouse that he knew was in his house. He had a mouse trap, but no cheese to bait it with, so he used a magazine picture of cheese. In the morning, there in the trap was a picture of a mouse. Moral. You get out what you put in. Oh, God. That story was cheesy. That cracked me up. My water done dripped right on out. Okay. Arthur gained nothing by the incident except the realization that he had bigger and better work to do. He went back to the drawing board. He gained something huge. He conjured up a chance meeting. So whether it's an interview you want, or someone to hand you a check, or that you have the power to conjure that up. And of course, everybody has free will, but when he got on the stage and then he just got nervous again. So what? Each time, do it again and get stronger and stronger of that in your field, and believing that you can do that, whatever it is. Okay, this time he made sure he felt at ease and confident while in his mental posture. He met her again. It was a better meeting. He met other girls. Each meeting became better and better. And again, you can apply that to anything in your life. Put in expectation of results and you get results. Put in visual images that are realistic and these images become real. Put in acceptance of your psychotronic power and you enjoy the miracles of that power. Now you know what I mean when I say, are you ready? Are you? Well, then let's get after it. Action plan to attract a person to your side. Oh, whoops. Whoops. Again, you can apply it to anything you want. Relax so you can use your imagination in a comfortable, daydreaming way. Close your eyes. See the person you wish to attract to your side. That person is doing something, typically smoking, combing hair, or working. Again, this was decades ago. So picture something that they're doing, and then you walk into the room. And this too, if you've read Burt Goldman's stuff on quantum leaps, he talks a lot about doing that with yourself, right? So imagining a version you. So say you want to learn the guitar. You imagine yourself in a reality that plays the guitar, and you go knock on the door and you talk to yourself, and your self teaches you to play the guitar, and then he could play the guitar. And so, imagine a version of you that lives in the house you want, and then you knock on the door and you talk to them, visit with them, and then you're interacting in that in that energy, or you're learning something from that reality. And so when you picture them doing something typical like smoking or combing their hair or working, oh my gosh, okay, that's not my day, but because I got no hair, and traditional work just rolls my eyes. Okay, talk to the person mentally. Okay, I've taught people this a lot. Like if you want to have a conversation with your kid, even if someone's in the next room, or you want to have a conversation, I say boss because that's a lot for people, or their partners. My example in my life would be if I want to have a conversation with, like, I might visualize donations to the church, or visualize my own body healing. I don't visualize a boss because I don't want a boss. So in my instance, instead of visualizing a boss, I would visualize money coming to me, or visualize things that I want. These are, it depends on where you are in your life, what you want to draw to you, toward your life. So you just visualize the room, who's ever in it doing whatever, and you go there. And as I said, I teach people to like, sit down and have a conversation with them in your mind. And that way, then when you have the so-called real, whichever reality is real, conversation, the energy's already set to your intention of how you want that to go. Okay. Talk to the person mentally. See the person look up and respond with a smile. Keep this talk going for about a minute. Small talk at first. Health, weather. Again, this was written decades ago. Small talk today would never be considered health. Ah! How are you today? Oh my God! Ah! Crazy train. Never mind. Okay, then talk about the two of you. Emphasize your loving thoughts, even if an opponent or enemy. Okay. Again, it can be for anything. So it happens to be in the attractive person to your side. I don't want to attract an opponent or an enemy. Okay, but even if someone is totally against you, you can use these same techniques. It doesn't matter because it's about what you project off of you. Okay, talk about your respect and high esteem for that person. Use your hands in some way, either to emphasize your point, to hold hands, or to stroke the person if that fits into the relationship. Be appropriate, folks. Okay. End your psychotronic session by feeling it open-ended. Feel as if there has been an interruption, been only an interruption, and that the conversation will soon be continued. Open your eyes. Okay, next section. How you hand... Reboot, back up, take two. How your hands help to power your psychotronic energy. The meeting you have just daydreamed about has activated just as surely as the blueprint activates the house. The mental picture is like the television camera capturing a scene. It then is transmitted out into space, where it finds television sets turned into its wavelength. That picture then appears on a screen of those sets. The person in your action plan may not understand why, but you enter their thoughts. The words you uttered may not be detected consciously, but they feel behind those words. A warm, loving feeling will probably be, a warm, loving feeling will probably be detected consciously. The reaction you expected will then be triggered. Sometimes the other person tunes you out, but coincidence takes over. Chance seems to be at work. The meeting still takes place as if there was a mind bigger than the two of you that arranged it. One day we will know exactly how psychotronic energy works. Meanwhile, we can only conjecture, which is like conjure, huh? While we put it into good use. Robert lost a wallet. Several days passed. Okay, I guess it was Roberta. Those pronouns. Roberta lost her wallet. Several days passed without her being able to locate it. She called me and asked how she could locate her wallet. Then she followed my instructions. She relaxed, closed her eyes, and visualized a clock showing 10 o'clock and a calendar showing that same day's date. Tonight at 10, I will know where my wallet is. Exactly at 10 that night, she got a phone call from her boyfriend. I found your wallet in my car, he reported. I found my wallet. It was like, in your car, he said. Okay, the next day she called me and told me what had happened. I still don't have my wallet, she sulked. I reminded her that the problem was locating it, and now that problem was solved. You know how to solve the current problem. She hung up. Then she phoned me the next day. I mentally gave him 24 hours to bring it back, she complained. And he was 1 hour late. And then he said, this time I hung up. Okay. This is a good time to mention, being specific, right? So when they found the wallet, so we were just looking for the wallet. She could have just bypassed all that and went into the wallet being returned. Okay, how do I find my wallet? Then she had a next step. Then she had to go to that person and get the wallet or have the person bring. And if it was someone with weird energy, she would have had to mentally shift that energy before getting that item back. Okay. Are the neurons of our brains in tune with the neurons of other brains and able to pick up information and transmit it? Well, yeah. Or is our brain part of a bigger universal intelligence? Well, yeah, that too. Perhaps neither theory is exactly right. Okay then. But we can transcend the boundaries of our skull. I can transcend the boundaries of my skull. Okay. And we are not alone doing this. Plants do it, animals do it, even single cells do it. I'm sorry, I just thought that was funny because I pictured plants with a skull. But every living being, which can be anything, is kind of a sentient being from the energy, once you have it, then or somebody's had it, they have their energy in it. So the plants beam out energy. Okay, I can Celestine prophecy. You interact with that. Cars interact with it. Every single car that drives by within the energy of that field of that tree, per se, energizes that tree, affects the consciousness of that tree. The tree downloads information from them and is always expanding its reach and its knowledge. Okay. Wow, Spirit just showed me that. I have 3 giant trees out front and I'm on a highway. And so that's kind of cool. Spirit just showed me that. Okay. Okay. Are the neurons of our brain picking it up? Yes, we transcend the boundaries of our mind, let's say, and we're not alone. Plants do it, animals do it, every single cell does it. What we need to address ourselves to, rather than to theory, is the way to make this energy work for us in a bigger and better way and have more and more control over it. Relax. Don't do it. Reboot. Take 2. Relax. Visualize. What else? The hands are one more way to induce bigger and better benefits, and to do so with more perfect control. Kirlian photography has shown powerful energy radiating from the fingertips. This energy intersects the physical plane only slightly. Use it to move objects across a table, and it may take you hours just to get the right movement. Man, my nose is just itchy. But this energy operates on a plane that is more important than physical energy and physical work. It is the energy of life itself, generated by consciousness, able to do its real work on the plane of consciousness. So when you use your hands to direct psychotronic energy to people, you are in its modality, its kingdom, its sphere influence. Relax, visualize, and point. That begins to activate psychotronic power to win you the benefits you seek. So I charge up my fingers and then I point at a picture of myself and do the work. Or you can, point at pictures or point at people, we project energy. That projects energy. That's why in some places, like pointing is a assault. And I don't mean exactly pointing, but, yelling at someone within their energy field is considered assault. And so, how when someone does that to you, you feel like your energy field is all like, broken or weird. And then when they, so you're putting your fingers together, you have your intention, you have the power of the living God through you, and then you point at something you want, okay? Or you can use your stare. Okay, point at what? Point at what? Point at a map, a portrait, an object belonging to the person. Okay, now remember, this is in the section about attracting people. You can do this money, okay, gold, bills being paid, mortgages being paid off, health issues, anything at all, okay? You can apply it anywhere in your life. Okay, Ralph had courted Lily for several years. She was his dream girl. Now they were going to be married. Then suddenly she left him for another man. He was stunned. His dreams turned into a nightmare because, he didn't realize it was his own powers and triggers and hadn't done his spiritual work in Dark Night of the Soul, removed all his triggers and programs. Yeah, give me a call, Ralph. Okay, he was stunned. Her free will doesn't include me. His dreams turned into a nightmare. Now she was thousands of miles away. She had left a scarf behind. He decided to use it in a special way, applying the laws of psychotronic energy. And this is a little bit sounding like, conjure magic, or not necessarily dark magic, but just realize we're in new energy. So if you do this with someone or they do this with you, you have free will, okay? So what this would do probably is just prompt that person to think of them or to think of you and go, oh, and then reconsider the energy. So when you do stuff like this, they've got the signal and then they're in their own free will and you go about your life. You don't become a stalker or like calling every, witch and conjurer, to do a spell against the person, sovereign free will individuals, okay? Okay, so we're going to take the scarf and do some black magic here. Just kidding. Okay, he held the scarf in his hand as he relaxed comfortably in a chair. He imagined he saw her. He pretended that he was offering her the scarf. He extended it to her. When she reached for it in his imagination, he gently pulled her to him mentally. Within 3 weeks, she returned to him, and later they were married. So let's just put this in its highest vibration form. So maybe she didn't really have wanted to leave. She wasn't really into the new relationship, and she opened to that through his energy saying the same thing. Okay? Or he, in bringing up his energy and mentally sending it to her, he tapped into a timeline or a version of reality where that version of her was, and then that version of her entered his life. Okay? The hands are not essential to psychotronic communication, but they do reinforce it. We will go into techniques to make the hands manipulate our psychotronic. Let me see, psychotic. Yeah, that's in there too. So that's why they call you psychotic, because you're just a magician. Okay, we will go into techniques to make the hands manipulate our psychotronic energy in a later chapter. Meanwhile, look at your hands. They have been an ingenious tool for you. No other living creature has been endowed with hands which work anywhere near as well. To make civilized life possible for you, period. Now see in your hands another ability which will improve your life, improve your level of life even more. In other words, give you a better quality of life, a higher vibrating life. Magnify your psychotic energy. Magnify your psychotronic energy. Magnify your field. And with your beliefs in there, it'll magnify the life you really want and that you prefer. Okay. How eyes and hands together help to power psychotronic energy. Eastern philosophy has always been considered as non-scientific, but it has accepted long before Western philosophers before the existence of a close connection between man and the universe in a conscious sense. That sentence doesn't work for me. Okay. but it has accepted long before Western philosophers. Okay, there's some words missing. I'm going to add them in. Okay, it was accepted long before Western philosophers knew of the existence of a close connection between man and the universe in a conscious sense. In yoga, the individual's mind is considered as an extension of the universal mind. It is seen as an outcropping, pretty much as flowers burst out on a tree. So the yogi sees himself as potentially capable of exhibiting all of the faculties of universal mind, being part of it. All he needs to do is erase the illusion of separation from universal mind and join more within it. Hence the word yoga, meaning yoke or joining. By training the body and mind, the yogi, man, or yogini, woman, yogini, is able to be all, know all, do all. We say that again. Be all, know all, do all. So the universal mind then being activated by the yogic mind. The yogi uses his arms, hands, feet, eyes, backbone, breath, and mind to join with universal mind. Advanced yogis attain control over their body and mind that permits them to consciously feel one with the universal mind. We see in modern Western approaches to apply psychotronic power several similarities to what yoga has taught for centuries: the relaxation, the mental attunement, and picturing, the expanding of the self-image. But we also see some important differences, and we consider these differences to be a step forward. In the West, the energy concept gives us a set of reference points that fits into our scientific approach, an approach that has brought us to where we are today. The energy is seen concentrated in the eyes and hands. So we use the eyes and the hands as appliances in converting psychotronic energy into practical benefits. We may be missing something by passing the disciplines inherent in Eastern ways. We may be storming the gates of heaven and using an energy for practical benefits before we have purified our consciousness so as to have the wisdom to use it properly. Atomic energy raises the same question. Are we ready to use that energy, or are we like children playing with matches? I and other psychotronic engineers have wrestled with this concept, as I suppose did the scientists who harnessed the energy of the atom. Personally, I am convinced that, don't forget the Tartarian information, okay, and what may or may not true about sciences and the atom, okay, and the power that we came here with, and here being anywhere, we have in our field, and we are sovereign over it. We just have to remember it. Okay, so personally, I am convinced that the time has come for man's next step. Everything is accelerating. Those who do not learn to use their psychotronic power to contribute to their own and general human betterment may be left behind. Sovereignty. You view generators and power lines creating and distributing electric energy quietly and easily. You see the wires bringing this power silently to your home. And again, in the Tartarian stuff, we don't need those wires. So you can visualize electricity being everywhere. Energy is free and comes to you at any moment in all ways you need it. Okay. You begin to look at yourself as much as the system. Okay, because you're creating it and projecting it. See your conscious awareness as a natural, easy generator. Your hands and eyes as quiet transmitters of these energies. You have seen electronic miracles take place. Now expect psychotronic miracles. Expect what they say is miracles. Okay? what they say can't be done. Okay? Don't take their meter for how things work as your glass ceiling that you cannot get above because someone else said you couldn't. You conjure, you create, you project the reality that you experience. Okay, you view generators. Beginning to look at yourself as the generator of the system. Seeing your conscious awareness as a natural, easy generator. Your hands and eyes as quiet transmitters of this energy. Okay. They're not really miracles. They're not really supernatural. They are the tools that was given to you when you came here, here's anywhere. Brother Jesus came here to show us how to use these tools. Okay, they called it faith healing. They called it all sorts of things. They made him into a god to be worshipped instead of letting you know who you are and that you can do the same thing. He came here to teach you what you can do. Okay, and then to use your fear and put that in the ley lines of their churches. They put your brother Jesus, which symbolized your power and who you are, up on this wooden cross and killed him. And in their stories and legends, believe it, don't believe it, and then you see these images everywhere. How can that be loving? So that doesn't conjure up a reality of love and freedom and of your power and what's actually your natural power that you came here with. Okay, there was other ascended masters that came here to teach you of your power. Okay, yogis, ascended masters, angels, guides. They've come here, and now the veil's lifted. Now we're in New Earth energy. Keep doing it, keep practicing it. They kept coming in, and then they kept getting ran off or losing to the darkness because the dark overlords that had power of us was too strong. Okay, and they used that through fear of God instead of love of brother Jesus. Okay, and they made Jesus a god so that you could not even imagine yourself being like him. Then they said Jesus died for your sins. Then they said you were born in sin. Okay, you release the power of the they by being the I am, being conscious in this ever-present now. Okay, how to get the answers you need. The first international conference on psychotronics took place in Prague in 1973. The assembled scientists shared their research in measuring and using psychotronic energy. Besides Kirlian photography of this energy, there was a great deal of work shared in the field of radionics. This covers getting information as by dowsing, by psychometry, which is holding an object that someone else might have owned and doing readings on the energy of the object, and by conversational apparatus that several scientists had devised. I like that, a conversational apparatus. That's cool, and that's not what this says, but that's what Spirit brought through my mouth. I mean, every single word you say is the power of the living God. Your words are magic, are power, are tones. All right, so this says, and by a controversial apparatus that several scientists had devised. One woman had such a radionics device, commonly called a black box, which was able to accomplish without it the same detection of information which she claimed it could do for her. Frances Farrelly, so that's spelled Farrelly, if you want to do further research, was given a piece of mineral rock by a professor from the Czechoslovakia Academy of Scientists. He asked her to identify its origin and age. Using her hands and eyes for a few minutes, she then stated that the rock came from a meteor and was 3.2 million years old. This was exactly the opinion of Czech experts who had analyzed it. Try this parlor game on your friends. Pass around a paper bag. Ask them to drop into it a ring, watch, comb, or other belongings so that nobody can see. Then pass the bag around again. Have everyone take out an object not his own, As soon as they have it in their hands and without examining it for clues, ask them to describe the person that owns it by describing their own feelings while holding the object. The results are often quite dramatic. The hands are radionic sensors of the body and can pick up information. This information is usually shrugged off as unreliable, if indeed we are at all conscious of it. Okay? You have the power. You've had the power all along, Dorothy. Let's just leave it at that. Now your guests are conscious of it and will offer such comments as, this person is very insecure, a female, quite energetic, a very sad person suffering some loss. The owners of the object will likely confirm most of the information offered. If anybody can do this, can you imagine how much better you can do it, knowing how? Action plan to get information from an object. Hold an object, connect to the person or project about which you wish information, or anything else. Wrap the fingers of one hand around it as you gaze intently at your hand. Ask the question you wish to have answered. Do so mentally. Close your eyes and wait for the answer. Keeping in mind, the first thing that comes to you is usually the most accurate because it doesn't filter through so many stories. Okay, so you close your eyes and wait for the answer. Be aware of how you feel, what you see, what you hear. Like any songs that come to mind, any tones, any smells, be aware of any of it. Accept thoughts that come apparently out of the blue. How are the kinds of questions you can ask about a person? Here are the questions. Here are the kinds of questions you can ask. Well, obviously you can ask anything, right? But these are examples. Where is this person now? Nosy Rosie. What is this person doing? Nosy Rosie. How does this person feel now? Okay, and you can do this for your long distance healing work on yourself and others. I do healing work on myself. I visualize myself on a healing table or have conversations with myself. I mean, there really is no limit to this energy work. Just, use your imagination. Okay, is this the right time? Is this the right place? Will this succeed? And any question you can possibly think of. Famous psychic Peter Hurkos, Hurkos, has been able to describe vivid scenes of a crime taking place by holding some objects involved. He has also helped police solve murders. Everybody walks, reads, breathes, eats, but nobody holds an object in his hand to get information. Well, okay, maybe that should say not everybody does. Okay, but it can be done. And those who accept the fact that it is worth trying are able to do it. Dowsers do it in a special way to get specific information about locating water. The stick or rod merely accentuates the radionic sensing of the substitute hands. He found the stolen money bag for the police. Recently, a robbery took place in Boulder Creek, California. The gunman was captured by police after a chase on foot. But a long way... Sorry, this popped into my mind, so I have to say it. I want to say it. So Boulder Creek, California is where his school is. Something of the trees. The Robert Stone School. Okay, so... Okay. The loot in the money bag was $2,500 in cash. Today it would just barely buy dinner. After a 4-hour fruitless search by police and citizens, someone remembered there was a psychic who lived in town, Christopher Hills. Why not have him help? That's Hills, just Hills. There's some interesting information out there about him. The deputy sheriff of Santa Cruz, figuring there was nothing to lose, agreed. So did Hills. I've been to Santa Cruz. He got his dowsing rod made of the bones of a male and female whale. starting at a point between where the robbery occurred and where the gunman was captured, and holding the separate prongs of the divining sticks between the fingers in each hand. He slowly rotated his body. The stick resisted being turned at a certain point. Hills headed off in that direction, the stick apparently pulling him along. Because you can feel kind of the draw. It was across rough terrain, over fences, and through thickets, with police and citizens hard to keep up with him. Then he fairly dived into some bushes and came up with the money bag. I don't know what fairly means there, but let's just say he dived into the bushes and the money bag came up. And the time that had elapsed was 5 minutes. I've used dowsing rods to find remote controls and pendulums. The work of Raymond Grace, Raymon, and then Grace, Grace, Dowser is really good stuff. Okay, you are now learning the philosophy. Okay, let me go back up there. I have known Christopher Hills for many years. We have written more than one book together. He is a pioneer in the study of the energy that surrounds matter and the conductivity of intelligence through space. Remember, that's not true, okay? This technology was taken away from us and way bigger than that. So it's just a person teaching it is the way I look at that. What he is able to do, others can do, and he teaches the philosophy and its practical application at his University of the Trees in Boulder, Colorado. I guess I didn't need to say that. It's already there. You are now learning the philosophy and practical use of this psychotronic energy. Whether you use a dowsing rod, a pendulum, or some other device, or whether you just permit your hands and mind to work together without these tools, does not really matter. You can detect the information which you seek to know. How to tune your psychotronic energy detector to the precise information you need. When you desire to eat, your mind resonates to food. And sometimes it's not you, it's some parasite. Okay. You are in tune with food sources. Yeah, I do that, right? Like you just lay there, you're like watching Netflix, you pause it. You're just going over everything in the cupboard and everything in the fridge and everything you could make and places you could go and things you could order. All right. When you desire, this is a little bit racy, so hang on. Okay. When you desire to make love, your mind resonates with the opposite sex or not. You become finely tuned to your opportunities. Opportunities. All right. Well, this book, keep it in mind, it's an older book. Okay. But on that note, it's interesting the power that your mind has over your sexuality, right? It's almost like you can go all the way in that energy just with your thoughts. The connection there is amazing. Research that, experiment with that. It's pretty amazing. Okay. When you desire information about a particular project or problem, your mind resonates with it. You become tuned in to what you need to know. Thomas Edison was a great inventor because he knew this, was aware of the information, or if you prefer, intuitive flashes that he was about to receive, and he trusted them. George Washington Carver trusted his conversations with the peanut vines and came up with use after use. Talking to plants is just the same as communicating with people. Okay, energetically, psychically, the bioenergy field. Okay, botanist Luther Burbank had a similar affinity for fruit trees and appeared to be guided by them in creating new hybrid fruits. Is there some information you want to know right now? Do you consider you have a right to it and that it will help you without hurting other ones? Anybody else? Do you trust the human mind's ability to intuitively perceive beyond the limits of sight and sound what you know, what you've been taught? Okay. Can you conceive of a person or thing connected with this information as if you were there? Can you conjure this up in your mind's eye as if you were there? Whether it be your dream house, your comfort level, your peace of mind, your true love, your beach, whatever it is that you want to feel, see, be, move your energy field into? Okay. If your answer is yes, so as if you can perceive these, to these 4 questions, you are ready to perform an information acquiring feat that would stun Mr. Sherlock Holmes. The weakest of your 4 yes responses is probably the 3rd yes. We've been taught to trust only our sensory information. We trust what we see, hear, touch, smell, and taste. When Jose Silva, founder of the Silva Mind Control, began teaching his own children in this so-called subject learning, he tested them and found they would volunteer information or answers before he could ask the questions. Why did you answer the question, he asked. I guess you wanted to know, was the reply. I myself have trained children in this ability and have found they are more readily able to accept psychic functioning than are adults. One 8-year-old did not even have to relax and close her eyes, as I am going to have you do in a moment. She just came up with accurate answers about people she did not know again and again and again, just guessing, reading into the vibration. Children have that skill naturally. We were once children. That skill was taken away from us by our focus, our beliefs, our programs, our thoughts. And you can take control of that supercomputer that is you and your biofield, your tritial field, right this moment. Okay. Children have less I can't training than do adults. The older we get, the further we drift from that natural, intuitive perception with which we are all endowed. Corporation executives who have retained their trust in hunches have been found to be more successful than those who ignore the still small voice of intuition and rely instead on statistical reports. In a moment, you are going to get a hunch. It will not be delivered to your consciousness any differently than any other thought you have. Expect it and expect it to be dependable. Decide on the information you need to acquire and you can begin. Folks, they have had frequency machines, vibrational machines, advertisement, television. They changed music from the 432 hertz to the 440. All of this was used to put thoughts into your head. So if you're thinking about something, you might be feeling guilty or shameful or all these things. If it feels bad, it's negative. It's not your higher self. It's not the real you, okay? They can actually put vibrations in your mind, which you think it's your thought. That's why it's so important to identify what must I believe to be feeling this, because then you know whether it was a thought that was projected at you, planted in your head, a program in your energy field, something in your bloodline, from your ancestral DNA, okay? Something environmental, something that you just accepted that someone told you when they were abusing you, but it's not really your belief, okay? Not all your thoughts are yours, okay? It's important to know which ones are which because those are creating worlds, okay? All right. 7 simple steps to acquire information miles away. Action plan to get information at a distance. Sit in a comfortable chair, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and relax. Turn your eyes slightly upward as if in thought. Mentally ask for the information you seek. Visualize the scene involved. All right, let's back up. Mentally ask for the information you seek. Okay, remember to be specific. Okay, and notice what assumptions you might be putting into your question. The purity of the question will be the purity of the answer. Okay, and then you visualize the scene involved. So you visualize the building, you visualize the table, you visualize the teacup, the coffee cup, the pastries, whatever. You visualize the paperwork, you visualize the room, you smell the smells. The more that you can conjure up in your imagination and visualization, then the more accurate your resulting reality will be. Visualization is something you've seen. So if you're visualizing somewhere you're going to meet someone, you will know that place, and you can maybe picture the tables, picture the chairs, picture certain things. Okay, what it is that you can't visualization is things you know. What you don't know or haven't seen or been there, okay, then that's imagination. So you can imagine the smell, you can imagine the people in the room, you can imagine anything you want in the room. So it's imagination and visualization, okay, and your emotion. These create realities. Okay. Next, use your hands. Okay, I want to do these in order again. So sit in a comfortable chair, close your eyes, take a deep breath and relax. Turn your eyes slightly upward as if in thought. Mentally ask for the information you seek. Visualize the scene involved. Use your hands to emphasize your seeking. Pretend you are psychometrizing a book record or other objects, if such is involved. Or pretend you are gesturing with your hands as if another person is involved. Stop visualizing the scene, guess at the information you need, and accept the answer that comes. All right, so we're taking a deep breath. We're visualizing the scene where we might be talking to this person or asking this question, or they might be giving us money, they might be giving us a tool, a key, or whatever we seek from this person. They're giving it to us, and we see that, and we feel the room, we visualize them, we feel their response, we bring all this up, and then we stop, and then we write down the answer that comes to us from our question, or ask the question again. Okay, or have the question on the piece of paper when you do this, and then bring in what comes first. And don't question it, because once your programs get involved, and then your guilt, and then your shame, and then your shoulda, woulda, couldas, then that will alter the purity of the answer that you get. Okay. Okay, you improve with practice. Start with projects that are less vital. As you receive verification of your accuracy, move on to more critical information. Here are some examples of the kind of information you can acquire. These examples are arranged in order of increasing importance. You would want to start with the less important type of matters that head the list, working your way down the list as your psychotronic attunement proves its accuracy. Is that movie still playing at the neighborhood theater? Then you can, in that example, you picture yourself like standing there looking at the movie thing, or like, we could picture it looking online or whatever. Like, this was written before the internet was a thing. But if that was a thing and you didn't have the internet, you could visualize yourself, walking by and going, oh, such and such is playing, and then the hours of the, or bring that back up in your mind. Is the sequence of that television show a repeat, and have I already seen it? Will so-and-so be on time? What will the weather be like tomorrow? What does so-and-so think of me? What grades have I been given on that test? What grade has so-and-so been given on that test? What company may need my services? Who's responsible for such and such? When is the check being mailed to me? And again, if you have a lot of emotional charge and expectation of that check when you ask, then that might affect your answer. So just keep practicing and tuning that energy. Okay, who is that person with right now? Should I buy or should I sell? What does so-and-so want most? Where should I go for such and such? What should I guard against most from my competitors? What is in the letters, the documents of the reports? Okay, and you can apply this, you can have any question at all you want and apply that to this. Okay? All right. I'm going to read this next section to you. I'm going to clear the air first here. Just checking the time on this. This is on my tachyon. You guys familiar with tachyon energy? Got my water on my tachyon. Okay. Raising the vibration of this room and all through all the lines of the internet and the energy and the ether, through everyone who's listening to this, and generating out everywhere possible. And so it is done. Psychotronic energy flows both ways. You cannot only detect, but you can also correct. So you can change things. And I've worked a lot with changing past memories. I'll visualize the memory, like visualize a setting and a certain person doing or saying a certain thing that may have caused me sadness, grief, whatever, certain program, and I will change the way they said and make it kind and benevolent, and changing that energy with as much visualization and imagination as you can changes that past event and its charge in your energy field, which is your supercomputer, your Teridial field, that is a torus that keeps repeating. Okay. George wanted to divide his property. Officials said it could not be done. Agricultural land had to be preserved in this area, and it was feared that the further subdivision would encourage housing and discourage farming. A year before, George would have visualized himself being hassled by the authorities. He would have worried himself sick, and in the process, and used his energy of consciousness to create the very outcome that he feared. Never focus on what you don't want, always focus on what you want. But now, knowing the power of his psychotronic energy, George sketched his property on a piece of paper. He then made a light line where the subdivision would be, as it was already shown on the survey submitted with this subdivision application. And so also this is, shifting to the reality that you prefer, because you're projecting a different version of reality. Once you believe it can be true, okay? Daily, he held the sketch in his hand and went over the line, making it stronger each time. He closed his eyes and saw the official looking at the survey. He spoke to them of his needs and its reasonableness. In a few weeks, the officials reversed themselves, and he got his approval. Need and reasonableness, free of any thoughts of failure, are the keys that permitted George's psychotronic energy to work for him and to work fast and successfully. He got the outcome he wanted. Instead of creating the problem, he created the solution. It is as if a larger intelligence is involved, and which meditates not who is right. Scratch that. Apply that, but let's change it. Okay, it's as if instead of creating the problem, he created the solution. It is as if the larger intelligence is involved, and which mediates not who is right, but what is right. But the larger intelligence needs your agreement and cooperation. Your psychotronic power can correct an injustice being done to you or somebody else a lot easier and more successful than it can be used to create an injustice. To do wrong with psychotronic power is uphill all the way, and you never know what can come rolling back down the hill at you to correct this wrong energetically. Psychotronic power works both ways. Evelyn was a prominent real estate agent in her rural area. People respected her advice. Now she was in trouble. All right. The courts had overturned a requirement in a contract of sale requiring that only new houses be built. The buyer was going to bring in a second-hand cottage from a mile down the road. What will I tell the buyers? They have hired architects. Their new house will be downgraded by his eyesore. She was on the verge of tears. I gave her instructions. She had been waking up in the middle of the night, visualizing a shack on that property and tormenting herself. Now when she woke up and saw that the shack, she used her hands to put an X through it, and then saw a beautifully landscaped home there. One night when she awoke, she heard a noise across the street from her bedroom, where the property was located. There was the roar of a motor truck and the commotion of men shouting. She got up to look. The movers had arrived at the second-hand house, and the ramshackle thing was being unloaded. All of a sudden, there was a crash. The house had collapsed. She went back to sleep. A few months later, a new landscaped house was built on that property. Evelyn did not use her psychotronic power to destroy the secondhand structure. She merely saw the situation as it should be. So as she preferred, in her highest and best, so then she would shift to a reality where that exists for her. Okay? Previously, she had been seeing the problem. Now, instead, she saw the solution. That goes along with always focusing on things the way you want it and not on the way they are if you don't prefer the way they are. Had she not switched from worrying about the shack and seeing the problem, her psychotronic energy would help to create the unwanted condition. When she used her hands to put an X through the shack, she was not determining just how the problem would be corrected. She left that to the larger intelligence through which our personal psychotronic power seems to work. Highest and best good, right? In the chapters ahead, we will work with proven techniques that convert problems into solutions, using the miraculous power of psychotronic energy. The mind, the eyes, and the hands will all be needed for these miracles, which is actually your God-given right. It's who you are. With them, we will correct injustices, avoid unwanted circumstances, improve situations. We detect information and then use that information to create a better life for ourselves and our loved ones. Okay, the next chapter is going to be chapter 3. Hook up with the cosmic psychotronic generator for unlimited power over others. Okay, now when it talks about power over others, this is not about like dark magic or conjuring up something negative, okay? It's about putting your will, okay, your creator God power, and using the power of the living God in your own terrestrial field to create and project the reality that you prefer to live, okay? And the timeline is the highest and best. And that's acting on your preference with integrity. Okay? So when it talks about controlling others, it means to conjure up a version of that person and that reality that you want to live in. Because if someone's treating you a certain way and you want them to treat you differently, and you focus all this, your magic focus power on them being different, you can't help but move to a reality where that version of them exists. That's how it works. And they've used that power against us to create the reality they preferred we live. All right, so I'm going to blow these candles out here with intention. And I ask that the Great Spirit, God of all things, Mother God, Father God, and all available beings of light, high vibration, Pleiadians, Sirians, Orions, all those of high vibration, high frequency, I ask that they bless every one of you everywhere that the vibration of this video goes. And seeing how it's been created now, it should vibrate everywhere, right? With my intention to do so. And with that, the intention is to send immense amounts of love, comfort, joy, peace, the love of the most divine, benevolent, holy, pure spirit you can possibly imagine. To raise the vibration of Mother Earth and her people, buildings, animals, soil, water, frogs, birds, eagles, whales, everything and everyone. That is my intention with these candles blowing out. All right, here we go. And so it is done. And so it is done. I ask that you intend right now to raise the vibration in your energy field, your Merkaba of light. You are sovereign. You have the power to create the reality you want and to give not hope, love, and teach people that they can create the reality that they want to live in by being sovereign and owning their own terrestrial field, their own psychotronic power, their creator God power, the power of the living God intentionally. And so it is. All right, folks. I love you all. I'm so glad you're here. And I will be talking to you again soon. Bye for now. I love you.